In a world where businesses everywhere are trying to make print-on-demand sales, one podcast goes above and beyond every week to bring the most POD-specific information there is, all to help save the day, every day. Don't succumb to the enemies of your print-on-demand business. Sign up today for the Print On Demand Cast VIP email at printondemandcast.com/VIP. This time, it's for real.
Welcome back to the Print On Demand Cast. On this week's episode, we're going to be talking about your last chance Q4 prep guide. Let's get into it.
Radical! Welcome to this week's episode of the Print On Demand Cast. Each week, join the gnarly Travis and Josiah as they provide insight into the print-on-demand industry and equip you with the totally tubular tools, advice, and strategies you need to achieve success, and hopefully have a few laughs along the way. Now on to this week's Totally Tubular show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the Print On Demand Cast. As you can probably tell, this week is going to be a solo episode as Josiah and I couldn't get our schedules synced up. He's got some news. I'm not going to share it. I think he'll share it next week, but some things are shifting around in his life, so he's pretty excited about that, but it's causing a little bit of schedule conflict with the Print On Demand Cast. So today, you got me, you lucky people. I wish I had well, I could do this one.
You devil.
That's right. So today we're going to be talking about this is your last chance Q4 prep guide. Q4 is starting in less than a week from when you hear this. So yeah, we're here, and this is kind of your last chance. And I know we just had an episode and recently about this, but I really wanted to kind of drive home a couple of points and then add a couple of points. So we'll get into that in just a minute. Before we do that, we call kind of our opening waffle section where we just talk about what's going on in our lives. And honestly, I don't have a whole lot of things to say. It's really been kind of mundane. I mean, just doing the things that you do when you own a print-on-demand store or, own a print-on-demand business. And then trying to create some content for some things that I'll be talking about probably next week. And just a lot of kind of the same old. My wife's been getting ready for this event that we have at our church most years. I think this is like the 12th or 13th conference they have. It's called Resound, and she's curated a bunch of art. She's really into art. And if you could look right over here, you could see she's got a little studio set up over here. I've got my studio set up here. She's got her art studio set up there. And then I've got the rest of our print on demand stuff over here behind the camera. But she's curated a bunch of local artists to come in and like display their work at this conference. And it's really cool. So tomorrow night I'll be going over there just to see, what she's created and attend, the opening session. It's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So she's really been working late and not around a lot. So I've been also working, but I've also been binge watching some Netflix. I'm not going to lie. Just finished a new series. You might have seen it. I'm not sure I can 100% recommend it, but it was very entertaining. It's called Chaos. It stars Jeff Goldblum as Zeus, and interesting show. Really, really kind of off the wall, but there's some gore and there's some, other things that you might not want to watch, let your teenagers watch or your kids watch. But that's what I've been up to. That's the waffle section, I guess. So we'll get on to it. Moving right along, I guess it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the weekly dad joke.
Time for the weekly dad joke.
All right. Well, the other day, time's just been passing, kind of just doing whatever. And I was on the street the other day, and this man, he asked me for $1. And I told him, I'm sorry, I only carry big bills. And he said, well, give me one of those. So I gave him my electric bill. Man, I'm not as good as this. That's supposed to be the ba-doom boom. So yeah, well,
if you're offended by that joke, I completely agree.
And that's this week's weekly dad joke. I hope you liked that. I did want to mention while I was at Printing United, I recorded a bunch of vendors and people that I talked to doing dad jokes, and I'll be releasing those out like on a weekly basis on our Instagram and on our Facebook and our TikTok and just all those places. So if you don't follow us on those and you like dad jokes, well, you should give us a follow. Print on Demand Cast / whatever the platform is. It's in the show notes every week. It's also on our website, on our webpage, all that stuff. So give us a follow if you like dad jokes. This week, I don't have a point of interest because, well, I just couldn't be bothered. So if I'm honest, but I did want to kind of reopen this idea for the main event of Q4 because, it's here and it's happening, in this next week. So let's get into the main event.
Ladies and gentlemen, the main event.
All righty, folks. This is your last chance Q4 prep guide brought to you by your friends at the Print on Demand Cast. So in episode 211, Josiah and I chatted about 10 things to do before Q4, and it's kind of our annual check-in. We do it every year. We talked about things like adding more listings, pricing, tweaking your order flow, etc. If you haven't heard that, you might want to go check that out. And today's show, I'm likely going to repeat one or two of those and maybe say it in a little bit of a different way, but I'm also going to expand a little bit on some of these things that you should be thinking about in Q4, because this is your last chance Q4 prep guide. Dun, dun, dun. I should have that sound effect as well. So the first thing I wanted to talk about, and we did talk about this on 211, but the first thing that you always want to do anytime you're going into a Q4, really any season where you're expecting sales or you're trying to analyze different things, it's analyzing your previous Q4 data. And your sales data is so valuable. And you might be saying, well, Travis, I wasn't even selling last year at this time, so I don't have any data. And that's totally fine. Tools like Everbee or eRank, if you're selling on Etsy, they can really put you ahead here because you can look at what sold. You can do date range searches and look at what was selling during November and December of last year. And you can kind of piece some data together, take a look at their designs, take a look at their copy, take a look at how they were selling. And you can kind of glean some of the data that maybe you didn't have because you weren't selling. And if you were selling, well, look at your data. And if you don't have data, well, keep track this year, keep track of what's selling, how much, how many of this product, so that next year you'll have kind of that leg up on this process. And, most sales channels do allow you to run a report with a date range. Some of them limit it to a couple of years. So you might even be able to go back 2 years if you've been selling that long on specific channels, and analyze that data. Just take a look at it, put it in a spreadsheet. I know you love spreadsheets, and just analyze it and see which products are doing better than others, and then look at the copy on those pages, look at the titles, look at the descriptions, look at your keywords. What similarities can you glean from this data? That's really what we're looking for, because we want to use that as we continue to create listings, as we continue to make more products available to our customers during this time. We want to see what's done well in the past. And that's why, if you haven't been selling, or even if you have a product like Everbee, where you can go in and you can look at a listing and you can ask Everbee to tell you what the keywords are on that thing, you can begin extracting that data, again, putting it in a spreadsheet, and then just figuring out what are the similarities here? What can I use to capitalize my Q4 experience and sell the most products by using some of this data that I'm gleaning from previous Q4s, my own Q4 experiences and other people's Q4 experiences. So we do have a link to both Everbee and eRank. And you can just go to printondemandcast/Everbee or /eRank. I'll put those in the show notes if you want to check those out. I believe both of them have a free version that you can at least get some data and begin analyzing it, as soon as possible, because you really want to capitalize on what other people have done. And, if you don't have that data yourself. All right. The second one that we're going to talk about that you need to be doing is optimizing your product listings. And again, we kind of talked about this a little bit on episode 211, but I wanted to reiterate it. The first thing is there's really not a need to change your best sellers, at least not much, and not the important pieces. I wouldn't be going to changing titles. If that title is, it's what's the word for it? It's registered in Amazon search. It's indexed. That's the word. If it's indexed already and it's indexed for a specific set of keywords that are selling, you don't want to mess with that formula. Now you might change like a secondary picture, or, the fifth picture or something like that, add some customer centric data to your listing. That's okay. But really, if they're selling well, you don't need to touch them. But if you do have some products that you think could be doing better, you're like, man, this is a really good design, and I'm just surprised that it hasn't really seen any traction. Well, a couple of things you can do. You can add some keywords or tweak some keywords. Maybe Everbee, again, look at some of the things that are similar to your product or similar niche, similar time frame of year, et cetera, and see if you can spot patterns on what keywords those other listings are using. And then maybe look at what you're using and tweak, change out a few keywords and see if that actually can move the needle for you. You might consider tweaking a title or changing a description or adding some content to your description. And I'm going to tell you, if you're not listening to me, pay attention to this one, because this is a gold nugget. One thing that you can do on Etsy specifically, you can do this on other channels, but really not as much as like Etsy is the one that you can really capitalize on this with. If you have a product that you feel like should be selling better than it is, go ahead and copy the listing. Okay. Make a brand new listing, copy that listing, and then change some things up. Change the title, change the keywords, do some research and figure out a better way to target your specific market for that product. If you're, don't be so generic, be a lot more detailed. We've talked about, if you're marketing specifically to like school staff members, and you say school staff member coffee mug for the holidays or ornament for or whatever. Well, why don't you do one that says for principals or for teachers or for, school administrators, school administrative assistants? You can use different phrases in your title that really, really, really target your specific demographic, because maybe it just says, school worker or something, it probably doesn't say that, but you get the idea. It might just say something generic, but you can use that generic item and target different subsets that would all benefit from that particular phrase or image or whatever you've got on that product. So by copying and relisting this thing with a few changes, you might actually be able to get in front of your target market. But then the other thing to consider is when you have a product that's not doing well, and you really think it should, you did your research and you've got a really strong design and you feel like your product pictures are on point. It's just sometimes the algorithm doesn't do you any favors. That's just the way of Etsy. I mean, they have so many products, they can only display so many. And if your account maybe hasn't succeeded to the level that they want it to, Well, maybe they're only giving you preferential treatment on a few here and there, and they're not just like always releasing your products to the masses. And that's just an algorithm thing that you have to deal with. So the cool thing about new listings is that they typically get a bump in the algorithm when they're new, when they're within their first couple of weeks. So by copying an existing listing, you can use, the same pictures. You're tweaking that title, you're tweaking maybe some of the keywords. You probably don't even need to mess with the description all that much, but you're giving the algorithm an opportunity to show that product to the masses. And so really, really consider that strategy to boost your Q4 sales. All right. The next one we did not talk about on episode 211, is consider bundling your products. And this is kind of an interesting one because bundling actually raises your average cart value. And so what it allows you to do is make more money, but also it allows you to offer special discounts because your average cart value is up, which means your profit is going to be a higher dollar amount. It might not be a higher percentage amount, but it's a higher dollar amount. So you can offer dollars off of that if they buy a bundle. So bundling can be done in two ways. And most listings allow you to kind of do the first one, which is just multi-packs. It's getting the same item. It's getting 2 or 4 or 10 of the same thing. And you probably have gotten the sale for 2 items before. And that's a standard kind of multi-pack. The other option here is complementary items. And this does require new listings. Think of like his and her coffee mugs or something like that. And you're selling them on the same listing. And so when they purchase that, maybe you're selling your coffee mugs at, $20 a piece, shipping included, normally. And so you're putting these 2 together and maybe you're selling it for $35. You're taking a $5 hit, but with one coffee mug, maybe you're making, $10. So 2, you would say, you're making $20 if you sold 2 of the same thing. But if you bundle them together and only charge $35 and you're only making $15, that's still one sale making you $15 versus one coffee mug making you $10. So you have that extra room to discount your bundles. And so think of these ideas, complementary items. What could go with another thing? It doesn't have to be the same product. It could be 2 different types of products. Heck, it could be 2 different vendors. You just have to figure it out. These are a couple of things you'll want to do if you're bundling. First, like I was just saying, you need to make sure that it's possible with your vendors and the way you have them set up. Usually it's a lot easier if it is one vendor sending both items. Even then, you're going to want to note in your listing somewhere that these items may arrive separately, because even if it's coming from the same company, it might not be printed at the same facility. So like Printful, they have pretty much all of their in-house printing. They're printing pretty much everything themselves, but they still have multiple centers. And so if you're bundling an item that may not be produced in the West Coast, but your buyer is in LA, they might need to use another facility to produce the second item. And so the first one comes from LA and then the other one comes from wherever else. So, or comes from, so you need to make sure in your item description, you say, hey, these might arrive separately. Otherwise, you're just basically avoiding a customer service email. So saving yourself a little time by putting that in the listing. Hopefully they'll read it, and hopefully that'll avoid a customer asking that question. But you definitely want to make sure that you can do this with your vendors. And if you have 2 different vendors that you want to bring, product A from vendor A and product B from vendor B, you've got to figure that out before you list it, because the last thing you want to do is have to manually place an order with vendor B for product B every single time that thing, sells. You need to figure out a way to make it automated. And if you can't make it automated, maybe don't do that bundle, or maybe just choose 2 products from vendor A, because that's a lot easier. All right. The next one, number 4, is to consider using various sales strategies. And when I'm talking about like on sale, like discounts and things like that. So like I said before, one of the easiest ways is to use discounts on your bundles. That's a really easy way to give your customer a discount for buying more things. But how about a couple of sales that we splatter in before kind of everybody's doing their Christmas sales? What if we did a shop early for the holiday sale in October or early November, something like that? It's not a Black Friday sale. It's not a Christmas sale. It's a shop early for the holiday sale. That's an idea. You can do that. You could offer, another idea is to offer free shipping at a specific dollar amount. You can do that through Shopify very easily. You may have to tweak some things to do that on other sales channels, but that again is going to raise your average cart value because they're trying to get to that point where they save money. And so you have room, if you have decent margins, when people buy more than one thing, and your cart value raises, you have room to give that discount. On Etsy, consider changing your banner. Or at the very least, included in your shop announcements that here are the sales we're going to be running, or here are the sales and here's where they're going to come up. You could change your banner and just add, make it really cool and say upcoming sales or sales we're having. Now, just remember, you got to change it back later, after the sale is gone or after the season's over or after all of those sales have expired. You want to make sure you could even put your discount code in your banner if you wanted to. You're just trying to think of unique ways to promote these sales because you want more people to come to your shop. And the cool thing is that you can use this strategy all year. You could change out your banner, once a month if you wanted to, and put new sales that are happening every single holiday. You could have a sale. And then promote that sale, in your shop announcements, in your banner. Just make it as loud as possible. If you have an email list, you can send it to your email list every single time you're having a sale. You're wanting to get that word out that people can save money if they shop with you. Number 5, consider updating your mockups or your other images. This is kind of in the same vein as optimizing your listings, but it's a little different. First of all, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You don't think you have to go change your images on your bestseller. If you're going to do that, I would add maybe something towards the end. I wouldn't change my hero image, my number 1 image, or probably my second or third image. But consider refreshing your banners. Again, we're talking about banners or your profile pics, or the advertising that you're using with kind of a holiday-centric mock-up or a holiday-centric feel on your banner. Maybe put a little wreath around your profile pic or something like that. You're just trying to stand out. You're trying to jump off the page in search when they see all of these things. And you're like, oh, they're doing holiday stuff. I'm clicking in to that particular listing or that particular shop. If you're doing advertising like on Facebook or Instagram or other places, the mockups that you're actually using, if you're talking about sales and things like that, maybe the mockups that you're using could be more Christmassy, could have, some garland around the shirt or something, or, a little Santa hat on the model that's wearing it or whatever. Those types of things can really, really set you apart when you're scrolling through Facebook or scrolling through Instagram and you see somebody, like an elf looking person wearing a funny t-shirt or, holding a funny coffee mug or something like that, where you're really targeting that person, but you're also saying, hey, we're doing holiday things at our shop. So you could up your click rate, your click-through rate, your CTR, by just updating some of those ads in your ad consoles and just updating those things. So all of these things can kind of be done in combination with a sale to really drive home as I'm scrolling. You know what? I still need a gift for Aunt Sally. And see, the gift idea comes into their head because they see the holiday image of the mock-up and they're like, oh yeah, gifts. Oh yeah, Christmas. Oh yeah, holidays. And then they see the thing and it's like, this is perfect. It's a cat shirt or something. And Aunt Sally has, 23 cats. And she's like, I need to get something for Aunt Sally. And so it triggers that. And you have a higher opportunity to get that click, because most of the things that we're selling, not all, but most of them are really giftable. And so when we're trying to share that, hey, you need to come to my store, my website, my Etsy store, whatever, to you need to come here because we have gifts. And so you're trying to remind them that, oh yeah, you need to buy things. You need to buy things for Christmas. You need to buy gifts for people. And by using those holiday centric images, that's exactly what you're doing. On your advertising, on your banner, on your profile pic, with your mock-ups on some of your products. We talked about copying existing products that are doing really well. Well, what about copying that product, but swapping out the first image to have more of a holiday themed image mock-up? Again, they're scrolling through and they see, no one's necessarily associating a cat lover shirt with the holidays unless you force the issue and with your mock-ups. And so they see that in the scroll and it stops them and they're like, I need to get that cat shirt for Aunt Sally. Okay. All right. So number 6, and I've just got 2 more here. This one, be proactive with your customer service. And all I mean by this is just try to save yourself some time later. There's a few things you can consider that aren't quite as obvious as you would think. The first one is kind of obvious, take the time now when you're not as busy to create a few templates for situations that may come up, like late deliveries. Make a template that's kind of generic that you can go in and really quickly tweak, to the specific customer, but you've already got it. It's already done. You don't have to type it out every single time. God forbid we have another 2020 where the world shuts down. And I can't tell you how many late delivery customer service messages that I had to send during that time. And I had a template and I would just tweak it a little bit, but I kept using that template. And I probably sent that thing 100 times, over November and December while the world was shut down and people were waiting astronomical times to get their products. So think ahead, have something ready, have a template ready, because there's a possibility for late deliveries. The other thing that you might not have thought of, but you might add some exceptions to your descriptions. Say during the holiday season, sometimes orders get backed up and take a little bit longer than planned to get to you. Please have mercy on us, give us grace or something. You could phrase that. You could have ChatGPT write that for you, but put that in your listing so people know what to expect. You're always trying to give the customer expectations that are reasonable. And most everybody knows that at the holidays, all of the delivery services are really backed up. And so it makes sense that you're just reminding them of the obvious. And so that can help. Another thing that you should do is check with your vendors to see what the cutoff dates are for your products. This could also be included, to ensure delivery by the holidays, please order before December 12th or whatever that date is. If you're ordering past December 12th, consider using a priority shipping method, and then maybe pad a couple extra bucks onto that shipping method and you could get some upsells. But you get the idea. You're including that in your description and you're getting that data from your vendors specifically for that product that you're listing on that particular listing page. If you have multiple vendors, get multiple timeframes and change all of those multiple products, from the different vendors. And then here's another one that you might not have thought of, but check your shipping profiles. And you might even consider creating a new profile in case delays happen. So you can quickly, just change all of the shipping profiles on all your listings at the same time and give yourself an extra day, give yourself an extra 2 days, whatever the case may be. You might even create a couple of shipping profiles, extra day, regular shipping profile dash extra day, regular shipping profile dash extra 2 days, extra 3 days. And all you're doing is tweaking those. You're not using them necessarily. You just have them ready so you can quickly go boom, boom, boom. All of my products are now showing extra days to get to the customers. It's just better now to have them, just in case. You never know if you're going to need them. So you might as well take this time to get ready just in case. And you know what? They stay there. So next year you could use them again. Once you've done it, you've got it, and set it and forget it kind of thing. And then next year, if you happen to need it, it's right there for you. All right. The final point that we're talking about in this last chance Q4 prep guide. And this one is the most important one of all. And it's what I've been talking about this whole time. Plan it out. Make a plan. If you, what is it? What do they say? If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail, And so I can't stress this enough. It's really the whole reason I'm doing this episode again. I'm revisiting this topic. So like a couple of things that you need to be planning out, or that you could plan out right now. I mean, we've already talked about like your customer service templates. We've talked about your sales, maybe getting some of those banners for your Etsy account ready to go, so you can just quickly swap them out on, this day, and then again this day, and then again this day. You have it all ready. You've got it all planned out. Email marketing. If you're doing email marketing, write your emails now that are announcing all of these sales and all of these different discounts and those types of things, and schedule them to go out on certain days. And at the same time, you're going to be swapping out other things in your business, and they're all going to coincide. You're going to have this, it's not super elaborate, but it's elaborate enough to boost your sales, in Etsy. Create your sales. You can go in and like actually make the sales and tell them when they start and when they stop. Go ahead and do that. Add the products that you want to specifically focus on. You might want to add all of them or just a few or whatever, but schedule those sales with those discount codes that you're going to use in your emails and in other places, maybe even in your banner, and create them now so they're ready to go. And they just automatically turn on at the right time. And then finally, and the most obvious, and we did talk about this on 211, it was our first point, but continue listing new products. Don't allow all of this other activity to stop you from the most important thing. And the most important thing is to have listings that people can buy on as many marketplaces as you possibly can. Some of that strategy could be copying some of your sellers or some of your products that haven't done as well and you think could do better. Maybe taking one product and turning it into 5 listings, 20 cents a pop, that's $1. Who's not going to spend $1 on something that could make you 500, or 1,000 or more? Take a chance on some of those ones that you feel like are right there. They just need a little bit of algorithm boost and people would really love them. So don't allow this, creating the sales and writing your emails and your customer service, all that stuff, that's important, but it's kind of superfluous to the main goal of getting as many listings as you can in this incredibly lucrative season of print on demand. People are looking for your product. They're looking for things exactly like you have. You just have to get in front of them. And all of these strategies woven together can hopefully help you get in front of more people. Make a plan. How many listings are you going to do every day? Well, what does that mean how many are you going to have by Black Friday? How many listings are you going to have? Now, how many is that per week? How many is that per day? Back into the number that you want to accomplish and then stick to it. And if you miss a day, that's okay. That's totally fine. You don't have to make it up. You just get back on the horse and keep going, and maybe you miss your target by, 5 or 10 listings, but you have an extra 200 listings up there that you weren't going to have unless you made the plan. So you get the idea. Making a plan is so important. Sticking to it, not letting yourself off the hook, just make it happen. If you can't do it every day, that's fine. Maybe you have 3 days that you're going to create listings on, and you're going to do 5 listings 3 days a week. That's 15 more listings than you had last week. That's 15 more opportunities for one of these to hit the algorithm and really take off. So all of those things to say, hopefully this has been, a kind of a refresher, but also just another good kick in the pants to really get ready for Q4. It is the biggest season of the year. Like I said in episode 211, it really doesn't get started in October, maybe starting kind of mid-November, and then obviously as soon as Thanksgiving happens and Black Friday, you're going to see 5x, potentially 10x sales numbers than you were before that. So it's so important that you're ready in every possible way you can. But the most important thing is to get those products out there. Get those products out there and in front of people so that they can see what you got and they can give you money. All right. I think that's going to do it for this episode. I really don't have any more than that. I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you're taking this stuff seriously and you're excited for Q4. What I'm doing right now is I'm just wasting time while I find the official outro, but just a little peek behind the curtain. Well, anyway, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for joining us on the Print on Demand cast. Tell a friend, tell a friend a dad joke. And for Josiah, I'm Travis, and we'll see you here next week on the Print on Demand cast. See ya.
Hey, babe. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print on Demand cast. We hope you enjoyed the Totally Tubular Show. If you got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Want to be wicked nice? Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See you next time, for sure.
Hey there, Pod Pals. Are you a print-on-demand creator looking to stay ahead of the curve? You want to know exactly when to launch your designs for every key season and event? How about a chuckle with an extra dad joke to brighten your day? If you said yes to any of these, then it's time to join the Print on Demand Cast VIP list. As a VIP, you'll get our free annual design calendar, an amazing guide to help you time your creations perfectly throughout the year. And of course, we'll include a bonus dad joke each week as well. Signing up couldn't be easier. Just visit printondemandcast.com/VIP and enter your email. Don't let another day of potential pass you by. Become a part of the VIP list, grab your annual design calendar, and let's dive into a year of inspired creating together. We'll see you on the other side.